If you were an attorney who was given the task to justify stealing, how would you go about it? The possessions of what does not belong to you will always sound wrong, unless it's actually a matter of word choice, a potential misunderstanding between the word borrow and theft. In 1961, a British barrister successfully defended the 57-year-old art thief Captain Bunton by stating Bunton simply abstracted the art piece. He did deposit the painting Duke of Wellington at the Birmingham train station 4 years after his borrowing. He would still be sentenced to 3 months in prison for the theft of stealing the frame. That painting would go on to be an Easter egg for the James Bond movie Dr. No. In another case, the case of Vincenzo Perosia, he stole the Mona Lisa out of infatuations. His lawyer claimed that it was a crime that was motivated by patriotic fervor and the artistic enchantment of the work. These cases were the actual line of defense that the attorney of Stephane Breitwieser used during the court case. Breitwieser was an art thief who stole on average every 12 days for 7 years. He had nothing but a Swiss Army knife, a screwdriver, and an ex-girlfriend, the Bonnie and Clyde of the art world. The estimated worth of the stolen artworks vary between sources, ranging at most billions to at least billions. What's so special about Breitwieser as an art thief does not just lie in the simplicity of his craft. Unlike many artists, he stole from the museum not as a way to funnel them to the black market. He exhibited a sense of genuine concern for the artwork. During one of his court cases, he corrected the director of a history museum on the details of a stolen sword. He pinpointed that the guard was made in a different time period compared with the blade, and he could speak on the names of the silversmith who forged it on the spot. His crime of passion doesn't follow the definitions of a kleptomaniac, since he didn't show signs of guilt or remorse after his operations. All of his trophies were put in a small attic that he and his ex-girlfriend lived in, and he barely had a stable job. A very counterintuitive image of what it's like to be a grand thief. Aaron Thompson, the only full-time art crime professor in US, once said, "Criminal collectors steal because they are denied the pleasure of touch. The personal attachment to the art piece is greater than the legal ownership." So, if you were an attorney who was given the task of justifying stealing, the case of Breitwieser might still not be strong enough to justify anything. The crime of theft is seen as horrible because it strips away artists' ownership for your own personal gain. To steal ethically is to steal selflessly. The best kind of thieves are those who steal to share, so that the captured wealth will be freely distributed and you shall be praised for your honorable relocation. But once in a while, wealth is not defined by money, and distributions of goods is unending and ongoing. Like the crime of Stanislas Goss, Breitwieser's favorite book thief, the only thief that Breitwieser spoke about with great respect. Over the course of 2 years, Goss stole over 1,000 volumes of books from a securely locked library inside a medieval monastery. He used the forgotten secret passage from the hotel to smuggle his prize and escape as a tourist with suitcases full of books. People like this are called Bibliomaniacs. And the most successful book thief in European history is Alois Pigler, a Bavarian theologian, and one of the many German librarians employed in the Russian Imperial Public Library. From 1869 to 1871, he snatched away 4,000 volumes of books from the library, quadrupling Gould's haul. It is, however, debatable on how should we define successful, because the best one steals in front of authority faces while being praised by the authorities. AARG, or Yup, the sound the pirate makes is one of the early pioneers for online book piracy. And it is also a great name for us to segue into the topic of book piracy. The rise of technology put any bibliomaniac to shame. Thousands upon thousands of documents, books, and scientific journals are being uploaded to the World Wide Web for anyone to grab. And Sci-Hub, the world's largest pirate site for academic papers, is one of those successful feats. It was established by a neuroscience student from Russia, because at the time, her university didn't subscribe to any international databases. Hence, she made one. She will later be included in the list of top 10 people who matter by Nature in 2016. The Science Journal called her an awe-inspiring act of altruism or a massive criminal enterprise, depending on whom you ask. It is undeniable that the wealth of knowledge is worth no less than gold. It is also true that getting access to this knowledge can help people advance their careers. The whole point of theft is not drooling at trash. The act of selflessness and selfishness always intermingle. In the Indian movie Show in the City, the story goes one step further. A small-time publisher of unlicensed books, along with his friends, kidnap a famous author and force him to write the manuscript of his latest book so that they would be the first one to publish it. They leave their mark before the ink, turning it into orphan before its creations. If this happened in real life, no one would support it. That is the mystery of piracy. People who downloaded pirated content would not actually rob a bookstore. Things are stolen with rules in mind. And for many, they steal out of necessity. In 2012, if a medical student from University of Sao Paulo wanted to buy all the materials for the first semester, he or she would be paying more than $3,000, 6 times the average income of local employed workers. Around that same period, the Oxford University Press sued the photocopying service in Delhi University for illegal copying. If a student bought all the 16 coursework materials, it would amount to $1,700, a number which was slightly larger than the then average GDP per capita in India. When the institutions fail to secure an affordable course, is it really reasonable to tell everyone, just buy it? And is it really wrong for Aaron Swartz, the internet activist who developed Reddit, Creative Commons, and accomplished a million other things, to barge into the internet server of MIT and downloaded roughly 700 articles a minute, nearly 80% of JSTOR database? The then US attorney who oversaw this case said, "Stealing is stealing, whether you use a computer command or a crowbar, and whether you take documents, data, or dollars." Due to Aaron's personal health and the pressure from the charges, he chose to end his life at the age of 26. To be honest, the most memorable cases of stealing that I've ever heard of is actually a case where tragedy was incurred by the absence of crime. A case about the demise of Yamaguchi Yoshitada, a judge who starved himself to death. The time was right after the Second World War, and the food control law was imposed to punish anyone who bought food on the black market. Yamaguchi was the judge who was assigned to preside over black market cases. He thought he should make an example out of himself, so he resisted the urge of extreme hunger and only ate his rations. But how much of a ration could you get when the country had just lost the greatest war in human history? Yamaguchi would pass away at the age of 33, and he made it clear that he had no regret. Even with his dying breath, he was still espousing the judicial system, referencing Socrates and not seeing the law as something broken and needing to be fixed. The intriguing details about the death of Yamaguchi were that he was not as innocent as his son. 9 times he tried to purchase rice from the black market, not for himself, but for his family. He knew that the ration was not enough to sustain anyone's life, but he still took his symbolic stance. After his death, his father thought that he had killed Yamaguchi because he was the one who once applauded his dutiful spirit. On the other hand, his son claimed that Yamaguchi was just a narcissistic egoist. And when the wife of the prime minister was asked about the incident, she replied, "Why didn't Yamaguchi's wife just plant food in the garden?" The most ironic of it all was Article 25 from the new constitutions after the Second World War. It states that all people shall have the right to maintain the minimum standards of wholesome and cultured living. In all spheres of life, the state shall use its endeavors for the promotions and extensions of social welfare and security and of public health. What does it mean to steal? To steal is a force of negation. Nothing original can come from a heist, a robbery, or a burglary. They are all acts of forceful transitions, a simple movement from A to B by a delivery man who delivers what has been delivered to the world. So what happens when a thief steals from a thief? Not all possessions are sought after due to their importance. The most well-known pirated content is not academic paper, it's entertainment. Game, music, anime, you can name the rest. The one that I will be focusing mainly is bootleg movies. The bootlegging business is dispensable and profitable. It is not essential like food or as noble as spreading knowledge. So it's a rare sight to see support from people inside the actual industry. Like the Hungarian director Bellatar, who once showed off his collection inside a bootleg store in Peru. The dealers who own illegal copies sustain the visual drug when the country as a whole can't properly import art. The pirated business of Peru even conducts its own translations, a showcase of the lack of avenues for movie to circulate smoothly in developing regions. Conversely, how will a pirate chant if he or she lived in the heart of the empire? The Kim's Video was a video rental shop for music and film. It was a local indie go-to for movie enthusiasts. At the height of its business, there were 11 stores in chain and 250,000 people signed up as members. Even the Coen brothers left a $600 late fee. In there, you can find collections of movies all around the world. I'm talking about movies that didn't even have a release. The humble origin of this business started from a small corner of a laundry shop. A shop opened by an early 20 immigrant, Kim Yong-man. He has liked movies ever since he was small. He once worked in a candy shop in Korea where it was next to a theater so that he could watch R-rated movies while being 13. And just like our previous stories, the business of copying was also related to textbooks. Young man attended film school when he arrived in the US, and oftentimes there was no access to movies that were listed in the course materials. So he came up with the ingenious idea of converting the niche and obscure films that he rented every day from the culture service of the French embassy, and he put them in the small corner of his laundry shop. His idea, needless to say, worked, and he will slowly expand his way to acquire more films. His bootleg empire was so successful that even the FBI went in and raided his shops. But a truckload of new copies will arrive next week easily to replenish the loss. His successful bootleg story reminds me of the old bootlegging business in China. Back in the days when Blu-ray was not a thing and DVD was assigned to different zones and regions, different bootleg brands would compete with each other to produce the best illegal copies. They even called themselves Region 9, a playful term among the insiders, since the official designated zone for China was Region 6, the inverse of 9. The best video quality from Region 1 would mix with the best sound from Region 2, plus the official Chinese subtitle from Region 3, so that they can be used with the dubbed versions of Region 6. It was a golden age for many Chinese film lovers, a time when the passion of cinema transcended official channels, creating a unique and memorable subculture. This vast network of coordinations could only succumb to the rise of a greater network, the internet. Just like other physical CD store, the Kim's Video couldn't outrun the optical fiber. This rise of online illegal digital copies is a case when a thief outsmarts another thief. The physical legacy of Kim's Video stayed in that CD box and spread across 55,000 copies. The whereabouts of these pictorial ashes concerned every cinephile. And to the surprise of many, they were not going to university or the library. They were going to Salemi, Sicily, a small town in Italy with only 100,000 people.
And I think it was a good idea and better idea to send to the Salemi.
The remains of these rare physical copies are what the documentary Kim's Video is about. The towns of Salemi promised to host the CDs, digitize them, and showcase them in a never-ending movie festival. The former Kim's Video members can access them at any time inside the comfortable venue, as long as they can arrive in Salemi. Thus, Salemi it is.
Kim's Video? Central Kim's. Central Kim.
I don't speak English.
Where's Kim's Video?
A lavoro dove?
Al castello.
Al castello. Close it.
Closed.
In a place that looks like absolutely nowhere, the door to cinema is open. Piles and piles of CD cases stack up on the shelf, stack up on each other with little to no care. A paradise of denial contact. The mayor of Salemi, Vittorio Scabi, the one who once facilitated this archival project, seemed to show no actual interest to these cultural legacies. The townsmen used to think that the cultural significance of the project could have revived the town, which was hit by an earthquake in 1968. What actually happened was just confusing bureaucracy.
Okay, anyway, I know Mr. Kim.
Oh, good.
I don't know nothing about Mr. Kim. Wait a moment. To come here to do some repairs, you can do that. You can.
I can?
You can't.
I can't.
You can't.
And did I say mafia? This project of restorations somehow involves bribery, untimely death, hidden past, and many more details that I would choose not to spoil. A great documentary that took 6 years to make. I would, however, spoil what happened toward the end of the documentary. Toward the end, a proposal for filming the neglected collections was made. It was a proposal for a fictional movie, and the movie was about a heist. It was a theft. A theft by Charlie Chaplin, Maya Deren, Alfred Hitchcock. If I were an attorney who was given a task to justify stealing, how can I lose when the cinema is on my side?